So when you got there, what was the first thing you did when you got there?
I met with Investigator Sparkman, and I was tasked with starting the neighborhood canvass.
Okay. So Investigator Sparkman was lead investigator on scene.
Yes.
All right. And again, what was your so were you delegated duties, I guess?
Yes, I was. As far as the neighborhood canvass, checking for security cameras within the immediate vicinity of the incident location.
All right. And so two questions. One, what was the purpose of that? And two, how did y'all organize that?
So the purpose of that was to try and determine who was at the residence that morning, and then develop a timeline if we were able to do so. And can you repeat your second part of that question?
How did y'all organize it?
So I was tasked with actually being over the neighborhood canvass, and that being said, there was about 6 investigators total that assisted in that, and once they found cameras at certain houses, they would let me know where they were at, and we would go contact the homeowners and try to make contact with them.
Right. And so in assisting in the neighborhood canvass, did you come familiar with the Canebrake neighborhood?
Yes, very.
And how many houses do you think you canvassed that day?
Probably 25 to 30 myself.
And how would it work? Would you just knock on the door?
We would start by, we started at the incident location and realized there was a Ring doorbell directly across the street from 122, and that was located at 121. And from there, we circled out utilizing Canebrake Drive all the way down to Saratoga and around the entire neighborhood.
All right, Master W. Stokes, I'm going to show you what State's Exhibit 107. I know it's kind of big and bulky. I'm going to hold it right here. Can you tell this jury what this is?
That is a map of the Canebrake subdivision.
All right. And is this an accurate depiction of the subdivision when you were canvassing it?
Yes, sir.
That day?
Yes, sir.
And I noticed there's addresses on here.
Yes.
As well. Do you recognize those addresses?
Yes, sir, I do.
Are those addresses points of interest?
They are.
And do you recognize those?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Is this a true and accurate description of the Canebrake neighborhood with those addresses?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 107 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. Number 107 comes in that.
So this jury can understand what y'all are doing. I think I'm showing my age by using an easel. I'm going to do my best. That's right. Go on, just walking around. Yeah, that's right. All right. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Sure. I'm trying to turn it. How about that? You can come over here. Sit right there. I'll sit next to you.
Sure, thank you.
You see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's go over this map. If you'll tell this jury and kind of describe this map, can you see what road this is right here?
I cannot read the writing, but I know that's South Batesville Road.
And where is the entrance to Canebrake neighborhood?
If you see the green square that's parallel with South Batesville, just above it, about 6 inches, and that's Canebrake Drive right there.
And so where did Christina Parcell live?
At 122.
And is that right there?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. And so we were talking about a ring camera that you identified. And where was that first ring camera that you identified?
At 121 Canebrake, which is directly across and at an angle from the incident location.
All right. And did you ever talk to Donna Gorman?
I did.
What address did she live in?
Hers is 117, which is directly across from 116.
Is that right here?
It is.
Okay. And then I have 116 canebrake.
Yes.
Were you able to find anything of significance at 116 canebrake?
Yes, they did not have a ring camera. However, they did have cameras on the front side of their house near the gutter up high and on the front side of the residence.
Okay. And then, so I'm assuming your teams of officers are walking up and down Canebrake Avenue here. And then what is this road that it deads into?
It runs into Saratoga, which comes back around, and I'm not sure of the name that it runs into. It may change names at the end, but that's Saratoga Drive that Canebrake runs into.
All right. And so is that 207 Saratoga down there?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that
It is.
accurate?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. And then this is 133 Canebrake?
Yes.
All right. What is the distance between this clump of houses and then 133 and 207?
From 116 to 207 would roughly be about a half a mile. There, give or take a few hundred feet.
And so back to 121 Canebrake.
Okay.
You said you identified a ring camera.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I met with the homeowner there, I believe his name is Chris, and he had multiple activations of his Ring doorbell camera. And standing there with him, we went through that, and there was multiple vehicles that went by and set off his activations. Well, in the process of doing this, we realized at 9:15 there was a car that passed. And when that car passed, you could see the front porch of 122. There was what appears to be a male stepping into the front door. And then it goes away because it's a short clip, motion activated, and there was no more motion from the road because the car had passed. We continued to backtrack, and we were able to see that at 8:07 that morning, Ms. Parcell's vehicle is leaving. And there's multiple other activations throughout this time frame.
All right. And you've reviewed the ring camera at 121.
Yes, I did.
All right. I'm going to play for you State's Exhibit 14.
Okay.
All right, can you describe, you can play it again. Describe this to this jury what you're seeing in the background there and what caused the ring camera to.
All right, so the white SUV that passed by activates the camera, and while watching this video, you see 2 points of motion. You see the vehicle first, and then in the background, you'll see the suspect, possible suspect, stepping into the front door. Looks like a gray sweatshirt, a backpack, and dark in color pants.
Now, have you reviewed stills of this video?
Yes, sir, I have.
I'm gonna set this right here.
All right.
You heard Agent, you did not hear, but Agent Sled Agent Hropshire testified about enhancing these photos.
Right.
But when did y'all obtain this evidence in further to the investigation?
So I had been on scene probably 25 to 35 minutes, and as soon as I obtained this, I asked the homeowner, which was, I believe his name again was Chris, he emailed that to me, to my county phone, and I sent that to Sergeant Kelly with the Technical Services Unit with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office for reason being, he could see that a lot better in his office on a large, big screen TV. And he could give us more details other than watching this on cell phones on scene.
And would you consider this sort of a break in the case?
At this point, absolutely.
Why is that?
Because other than this, we were unsure of any suspect. This is the first sign of anything that we had was right here at this point.
So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 16. And I'm going to have you kind of walk us through what we're seeing on these
Okay.
photos, okay?
All right, so that is a still shot of 122 of the initial ring camera after the white vehicle had passed. That is the suspect standing on the front stoop, front porch, directly in front of the main entranceway of the home.
All right. And is there a car to the right there?
There is.
Did you determine whose car that was?
That was Miss Parcell's, yes.
And that's 122 Cambridge, that's Ms. Parcell's house?
Yes.
Okay. And what is that?
That is the same instant location, 122 Cambridge, with the suspect stepping onto the front steps. I believe that will be at the top of the steps onto the front porch, same instant location.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the exhibit. That was Exhibit 18. Exhibit 19.
Will be directly after stepping onto the front porch.
Exhibit 20.
Be at the front door.
Exhibit 21.
Opening the front door.
And Exhibit 22.
He's stepping inside the residence.
And I know we just reviewed the video. On the video, can you see the individual going inside?
Briefly, yes, right before it cuts off.
So, as part of your investigation and canvassing, are you also trying to establish a timeline as well?
Yes, sir.
And when reviewing the videos or the ring camera from across the street of Christina Parcell's house, did you discover any other times on there that were important to your investigation?
Yes. At that time, that was 9:15 when he had stepped in. So, backing up to a few other of the notifications that Mr. Chris had located, at 9:27, I'm misspeaking here. That 9:27 is for 133. We'll get to that in a minute. At 9:15, he is stepping in the house. She arrives at the home at 9:12. So just a few minutes prior, her vehicle is turning into the driveway.
Would it surprise you if it was about 9:07?
No, that would be
Let's look at the video.
Okay.
All right. And so,
I may have my times off, but it's
so
right there.